Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here. First of all, when Joseph and Palazzo said that this is overwhelming response, the first thing I asked is like, what made people come? So it's like, it's all about AI. It's not me. So I'm sure that in the next 3 hours, it's going to be two things. One, I want to take you away with two things. Okay, if nothing happens, there are two things which will happen. One is you will go back and try at least 20 different ways AI can be used in construction. That's my promise. Secondly, if there are people who have not really started the journey, you will start it today. Yeah, is that okay? Two things which is real clear takeaway. We've designed this whole course based on certain ideas about construction. I'm not a builder. I'm not into construction. A lot of people ask me, hey, when I do construction AI programs, are you specialized in construction? He asked me this question. I said, I specialize in AI. And then, any vertical would look like, AI enabled, right? You can talk about using AI in healthcare, construction, therapy, relationship management, email writing, various things, right? So AI is sector agnostic when you talk about it. And it's just like leadership. Leadership is sector agnostic. So AI is also sector agnostic for that matter. First of all, I want to know how many of you have kind of started a little bit of journey with AI. When I say AI, it was a very distant concept like 5 years back, right? So what was AI before? It used to happen in Amazon, Meta, research labs in the US, California, right? Google, right? All those companies used to invest a lot in terms of AI, have research engineers working on, building AI models. It was only in the technology section of any news for that matter, but later it turned out to be like a consumer tool. In 2022, when ChatGPT got launched, the first thing which people did was like, hey, AI is in our hands, right? We can use AI to write emails, manipulate bosses, right? And do many things. And that was the first time people thought this is coming to your hands. Right? So what is traditional AI for that matter? So before generative AI, there was traditional AI. People don't like, say, AI, ML, people don't like the way we use traditional AI because they feel if they become traditional. But there is a reason for why we say traditional AI and Gen AI. Can you tell me why traditional AI is traditional AI, why Gen AI is Gen AI? So what was traditional AI doing essentially? Say, for example, when you go to your Gmail, right, you will have a spam folder, right? Who decides the spam for you? Google decides the spam for you, right? It's not that you mark certain things as spam. Of course, sometimes you mark as spam, but otherwise Google decides this kind of emails as spam for you based on something called machine learning, which means that machine learning detects out of a million emails and decides, okay, this is a spam, potentially a spam email for you, right? Did you decide for that, or probably Google decided for that? Google decided for you, right? You go to Amazon, you buy a book called, say, Atomic Habits, right? And then after a week, they would think that this guy is kind of into kind of structuring life, and Atomic Habits is one of his favorites. And maybe I can suggest a Atomic, Habits journal, a diary for him. Like he may buy it, right? So this is based on your purchase, and it kind of recommends based on, again, machine learning, right? So you have seen machine learning before, not in our hands, but in somebody else's hands, using on us, right? Which means that tomorrow you go to Facebook and you talk about, say, like, I'm planning to go to Munnar. Next day, you will find an interesting property ad on Munnar. Why? Because Facebook is using, or Meta is using machine learning to kind of push an ad for you, right? So all these examples are from machine learning era, traditional era, where big tech companies used to use AI for influencing us to kind of let we buy things from them, right? So what is Gen AI? The ChatGPT, right? Like, so ChatGPT, Claude, how many of you use or have ChatGPT on your phone? Raise your hands, right? All of you, right? Okay, great. Okay, how many of you don't have? Just want to know whether raising hands is a problem. Okay, great. Just say on phone means on laptop is fine. So just ask, like, if it is phone. How many of you feel that you use it like 5 times a day? Raise your hands. Great. So you have like 5 people using it 5 times a day, right? Can you tell me one of the things which you use it for mostly, like regular use for? Sorry. All right. Okay. writing stuff, right? Anything on construction, like understanding for, say, review of documents, absolutely. So you're happy with the review of documents with AI? Somewhat, right? Okay. Exploring ideas, ideation, brainstorming, right? Now, why is AI being sought after? Means anything with a lot of human effort, right? We want to save human energy, right? Like if you look at, imagine you're spending 1,000 calories for doing a project. What if AI can make it 50 calories? Will you like it or not? Right? So all of the work which we've been doing, even in construction, if you look at the physical stuff, right? So what we've been trying is to reduce the energy spent on doing an activity, right? Imagine you spend 10 hours to do an activity, 10 hours of energy required, human effort required, thinking required to do that, right? And we are excited by the fact that that energy is not required now to do certain things. That's why AI got so much of a response there, right? So secondly, what if you need more creativity, more accuracy, more judgment to do certain things, right? What if you are not an architect, but you want to access the domain expertise of an architect and he's not available? Architects are very expensive, right? So, but you want to get an architectural view of things. You want to get an expert interior designer's knowledge, right? How do you get that? You want a highly accurate estimation to be done without having to even do any calculation, right? How do you do that, right? So there are hundreds of things which now at this point, on a documentation level, on summarization, on insights generation, on analysis, on ideation, on brainstorming, on writing stuff, you can think of, this is like language, right? When you learn language, alphabets, what was the idea of learning the alphabets? Alphabets can turn into words, words can turn into sentences, sentences can turn into something bigger, and with these sentences you can actually build a book. You can build, win elections. You can do anything, right, with this language, right? So because alphabets turn to words, words turn to sentences, sentences turn to bigger things, it can turn out to be like winning stuff, right? And that's exactly, so what do you call a language? Language is a canvas, and exactly AI is a canvas as well, right? So if you have a set of tools, intelligence out there which is able to do so many things which you were never able to do before, and that's why we call it different kind of intelligence. So I have a thing called, so Satya Nadella says that don't call AI artificial intelligence, because this term itself was coined in 1960s. Right now, there is nothing artificial about it. It's very different kind of intelligence. You can call it like constructed intelligence. Like we have constructed that intelligence, but it is not human intelligence. It's different kind of intelligence, right? So you're accessing that intelligence to get a lot of job done, right? Just like electricity, right? So electricity is a form of energy which helps you to kind of do many things, right? So when electricity happened, like when somebody invented electricity, the first use case was to light a bulb, right? And the bulb was like very low, right? I mean, you can very dim light. And in London, right, people said, why do you need electricity just to light a dim light? And you have to kind of set up infrastructure, you need to set up transmission, you need to have all those structure to just light a dim light. That was not the idea, right? We have big chandeliers. Those times, huge castles and buildings had chandeliers, and chandeliers had 100 times light than a dim light, right? But then what happened to electricity and to the invention of bulb was like it got exponential over a period of 40 years, and it turned out to be a big thing. Now electricity is used even to power nuclear reactors, right? So the point of using exponential technology is all about using it for bigger things. So AI is a foundational shift. It's not a tool. Of course, we're going to use some tools to kind of get familiar with it, but the idea is all about appreciating this foundational shift. Okay, great. So starting with two things. One, how many of you feel this is a bit of co-intelligence and not like you're just relying on some intelligence? This is like you are collaborating with an right. So so the domain expertise really matters. So your understanding about that topic, your idea about that, your idea about the problem really matters in that collaboration, right? So there is a saying that the smarter the operator is, the smarter the output can be. So it's not just about letting AI do it. It is about how you apply your intuition, your judgment, your creativity, your domain expertise to get the best out of it, right? So the smarter the operator. So how do we operate? Like, so when you say operate, so we no longer may need operators for AI. Maybe in the next 2 years, that's a different thing altogether, because it is going to be getting agentic AI, because agentic AI will do a lot of things on its own. But meanwhile, in the next 2 years, we are going to collaborate a lot. How do you collaborate with ChatGPT? I'm sure people who have already done it would know. How do you do that? You talk to it, like you give prompts.
The correct denotions what is needed.
Absolutely.
A certain topic you want to be specific, you specify what is needed.
Exactly.
How it should be explained. What are the parameters which have to be included in that definition.
Right. So the contextual richness, right? Yeah. Prompts. So exactly. So any input you give to AI models like ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, Meta, I mean, all the tools which we're going to discuss today, the input is all we call as a prompt, we're calling as a query or whatever. But what is a prompt all about? How do you structure prompt? Because I want to kind of just get the basics and then we go ahead with things. It's like a conversation. So this is conversational AI, and an intelligent conversation is happening, right? Imagine two things. One, like you're giving AI the benefit of doubt of someone who is like an expert. How many of you really believe in the expertise of AI? Let me ask this. Because a lot of people, domain experts feel like, for example, chartered accountants feel, oh, AI is good, but not as good as a qualified chartered accountant, right? Or AI is good, but not as good as a great architect, right? So there is a skepticism around AI. Like, I think we will fix it first, like then we go ahead and do it, right? If you don't really believe in the capabilities of AI, it's going to be very difficult to kind of interact with it. Will you talk to someone who is not an expert and will you ask expert questions to them? No, right? Why do you invite a podcast guest on a podcast? Because you believe in their expertise, right? If you feel that you believe in their expertise, their contextual richness, then you ask better questions to them. Yes or no? Right? You ask better questions to them. Your preparation to ask questions will be much better if you feel expertise is good. Otherwise, what would happen? You would just have a chit chat, right? You'll not take them seriously, right? Same thing with AI. So a lot of people who are having just a normal, informal chit chat for low stake activities, which means the activities are like not high value, low stake activities. Hey, where is Oh My Cake, right? Which are the 5 best restaurants? I mean, it doesn't mean these are all low value activities which Google can do for you. When will you rise up to the fact that you will send a final proposal to an important client only with AI? That's when you really believe in the potential of AI, right? So to believe in the potential of AI, you need to know what the capabilities are, right? Okay, let's talk about ChatGPT. I mean, I'm sure this is one thing which is very familiar to everyone, right? If you look at the interface of ChatGPT, you will understand this simple, intuitive, nothing is there. I mean, just like Google search. And a lot of people go with the Google search mindset to operate with ChatGPT, right? So you throw keywords, you ask some questions, like basic questions, and that's it. That's where they stop it, right? So what is the next level of interacting with AI? Like you're defining your real problem. You are not just putting a prompt, you are actually putting a problem statement into it. Right? When are you putting a problem statement into it? When you really believe in AI can actually solve that problem. Okay, question number 2 to you. How many of you are using ChatGPT's plus version? No one, right? So you, right? So I just want to, since you are the only person, right, I want to ask you this. What's the difference between the free version and the plus version? What are the...
The free version, there is a limitation on the number of research or the analysis that you can do.
Sure.
More advanced pro version, we can do it. I don't know the maximum limit.
All right.
But yes, it satisfies my requirement.
Got it. Is that the number of queries alone, or is the output quality also?
No, what I've used it for is for research.
All right.
Research, and I found that on the normal version, I think this 5 numbers, there was a limitation.
40 per day.
Yeah. So, and when we upload certain files to run the analysis,
Yeah.
it goes down.
Correct. Absolutely right. Yeah. So, okay. So this was a question whether you're using plus or not, right? Do you see a significant difference? Now, my question is here, whether ChatGPT Plus can do 10x better than a free version. That's all my question is. It can, right? So when you put very complex problems into it, like you will understand the difference between both the outputs. Why is it happening? Why do you think it is happening? The models and the compute power they put for attribute for solving a problem on a plus version is 10x bigger. So they call it tokens, right? So tokens is a currency of all AI models. So if you ask somebody asking how many tokens are there on, it's all about. So Google Gemini gives you 1 million tokens every month, which means that as a free user, you can use 1 million tokens and it can actually cover like 200, 300 queries in a month. 10 deep research, images, videos, analysis, all that it can be done. But why Google Gemini is not as attractive as ChatGPT? That's the question which we'll deal with today. Like, when we see real demos, you'll understand what's the difference, right? Who else? I think apart from you and Joseph, like how many of you are using Plus version? Please, sir. You are happy with it? Right. There is a significant difference in the whole way it is done. Yeah, now you only know what is happening in the plus because there is a huge, exactly. Great. Wonderful. Let's start with some of the fundamental questions which people ask like in Gen AI. Okay. First is, how is Gen AI going to really help you in construction? Like people ask me when I shared this poster on WhatsApp status, people ask me, are you going to really construct a building with AI? And I said, no, that's not the way it works. You need to really work on physically. This is going to really help you on the back end of whatever happening when it comes to estimation, to design, to a lot of documents which happen. And most of you builders love the concept of going there and actually building it than doing all the administrative stuff. Yes or no? Right? How many of you feel that you really want to see the physical dimension of the whole thing building up than the whole 60-70% of the work happening on the background, right? Which is like chaos, right? I think that's a chaos we're going to organize and manage better with AI. Right? That's the job today. So it's not like I'm not going to talk about drone building and all that. Tile laying AI, no, that's not the discussion today. People send me Instagram saying, is this what you want to do? No, not this. We're going to explain 5 tools primarily, and then how do we use those 5 tools for doing all these things, right? Okay. Now, do you think that you are, if you're starting now, would you be an early adopter in construction industry, or you're going to be like someone who has already been doing it? Early adopter means compare yourself to the rest of the construction builders and see whether you are early to it so that you have an advantage of making things faster. How early we are right now or how late we are? Little early, right? Okay. In the construction industry, right? Okay. Good news or bad news? Why is it bad news? Yeah. So you feel we are late, right? Okay. Got it. I thought you said it's early. All right. Okay. So you feel this is late and we should have started early, right? Any other observations?
This is a field where there is a lot of resistance.
Yeah, I get that. Absolutely. What would be the reason for that?
Stereotype procedures and practices.
Or is it because there is a lot of media backlash on AI, like AI being considered to be like a lot of myth busting need to be done with AI because there are a lot of myths about AI, especially for people who have not used it. So once you have a lived experience, which means that you are really living that experience of using AI, until that moment, people feel that this may or may not work well for me. Insecurity, right? Well, let's understand what are the couple of insecurities around it. So I think we need to fix all those things before we really go into it, right? If you go into an area with insecurity, mind block, it may not really work well. The reason I'm asking you.
A lot of people think that their jobs would be at first to understand. Possible.
Mm-hmm.
There might be an estimation, somebody doing
Yeah.
He may lose his job if somebody above him does anything. So that is probably a start of that resistance.
Okay.
Whether the information is genuine,
Mm-hmm.
the correctness of the information. This is a very crucial setup there.
Mm-hmm.
and practices have been followed over the years.
Yeah.
From time being, there are construction practices which has been followed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when you start adopting a totally different mechanism, how far the genuinity can be relied on is one aspect which is very apprehensive.
Totally understand that. Two things. One, can we kind of look at it more like an experimentation, right? When you start a new foundational ship, like first 80% can be like you can go by your routine, and you start having an innovative approach. 20% of time spent on, hey, what's happening new, and we can try doing the activities within this 20% time. This is called as innovation time, right? Innovation time where you can make a little bit of mistakes, like you are not going to use the final output anyway immediately. You are like on an experimental trial and error mode. I think that 80-20 is the time where we really start getting the real feel of what AI is, right?
To the non-critical component.
Exactly. So maybe documentation for ourselves, maybe an internal documentation, or even for that matter, planning, brainstorming, ideation, writing, all are non-critical. But I mean, once you start with non-critical, low-stake activities, we build confidence. That's the idea. It's not that to limit activities of AI with non-critical activities. It is all about building confidence. Once you start with small wins, low stake, probably low value, but you will see how AI is developing, right? Couple of examples. 2 months back, when I was trying to kind of use ChatGPT for creating an architectural drawing, it was not able to do it 2 months back, right? So I was talking to an architecture professor in NIT Calicut, and he said that they tried it, but it's like 60-70% accurate, which is not at all reliable. And then I tried that like 3 weeks later after the conversation, and it could do the job pretty well. Today, it is able to do it at higher levels of accuracy. I'm not saying that you don't need to work with an expert for that, but you still can manage to do a lot of drawing and illustration, redrawing and dimension understanding, explanation, everything with these tools. What does this mean? In 2 months, it upgraded the capabilities without letting anyone know. There is no newspaper article about, hey, ChatGPT can become an architect now. There is no newspaper article which would say, hey, ChatGPT can draw an interior image of a 3D model, right? There is no upgrade, no news anywhere. That is the biggest problem with AI also. So if you go look at GPT is actually called as generative pre-trained transformer. A lot of people say general purpose technology, which means ChatGPT can do 1,000 things, right? And these are 1,000 things which can be varying from various industries, right? So unlike the simple, intuitive, very deceptive interface which you see on ChatGPT, this is actually a powerful tool which can do so many things, right? Now, good news is that GPT-5 is coming this month. So you're actually entering a high power engine now, instead of kind of experimenting with a lot of things. So I would say that this is a great time to enter any of this Gen AI model, because its matured capabilities are there. You don't have to go through the hardship of going through experimentation, sometimes giving up and all. Sometimes you judge also these tools, right? This is the right time. GPT-5 can actually read 1,000 pages in 4 seconds. Right now, the context window is already 300 pages. So if you use Plus version, you upload anything more than 300 pages, it will be beyond the context window, which means it won't be please keep it. It won't be able to read that or analyze those documents. If you upload heavy Excel files, it won't be able to read it. Why? Because the context window is limited, right? But GPT-5 is going to change the game. 2 things. One, in terms of context window, which is highest level of memory. Second is its ability to deal with numerical things better. How many of you felt that ChatGPT is still compromising on the numerical accuracy? Just raise your hands if you have done so. Like a little bit, right? So if you're sharp, if you're really good at numerical stuff or arithmetics for that matter, you'd feel some of the analysis is still questionable, and you can't use it without verification. You can't use it without proper auditing or whatever, right? So it's only like you're getting the output, but you have to verify it more. You're spending like 20% of time to verify the output. What if the output is absolutely fine. You just don't have to spend 20% time for verification also. How would that be? We are getting there actually. GPT-5 is a great model which will come in this month, August, and we have seen some of the capabilities which they are talking about. Now, imagine if we can do 6 things. Okay, we're going to discuss how, on an efficiency perspective, how we can do. Imagine if there are 10-hour activities which you've been doing. What are the 10-hour activities which you're doing? Right, things which will take almost 10 hours, like for your team, right? Maybe not for you. Think of a 10-hour activity for your team. And imagine, can we do it in like 20 minutes? So with the rapid time completion is one of the things which you're going to focus on, which means significantly reducing the time taken to do it. What could that be? So many things, right? So many things. Tell me a couple of things. Second, where a task is there, but you don't have people to do it. Is it a good candidate for AI? Right? So many tasks lying pending with the organization, nobody else to do it. Thirdly, tasks which requires a little bit of creativity, right? Where we are not always in the creative zone, right? You can be creative sometimes, but you can't be creative all the time, right? What if you want to ideate, generate real ideas for things, and that is where the creativity comes in, right? The fourth one is probably the more important one, wherein even if you try more accurate things, you are not able to do it manually, but whereas ChatGPT can do a lot of things accurately, which means you are improving accuracy at a different level, right? You can do 10, but you can't do 100, right? You maybe 10 units of documents you can make like 2 proposals in a week, but not 10 proposals in a week, right? So think that scalable expansion. We're talking about how can we affordably expand. And then the 6th one is the most interesting, which means that things you have never done before, you are able to do it now. What could that be? I'm sure things which you have not done before, you can do now. Example? Thinking of a new business plan which you have no idea. I mean, sure, like when you have business plans, you have called 10 people usually, right? You call 10 people for validation, not for feedback. And sometimes you call for validation, sometimes you call for feedback, and most of the time you only get right? Because I mean, they are friends and they are like sometimes not able to give you the specific feedback which is required, right? How can we use AI to get absolutely accurate feedback? Highly validated. I mean, it's not just validation, they're giving you feedback, right? There is a difference between validation and feedback, right? Feedback is very specific and validation is only based on individual relationship, right? Okay, what else can we achieve? What we have not done with, otherwise able to do with AI? I know 3 hours is not easy, but yes, we try to make it.
If you want, you can actually. Yes.
Yeah, I know. After some time. We'll see. Now, some of the key areas where we're going to show some real demos are going to be on these areas. One is project planning, then you have design and engineering, finance and costing, right? Procurement, quality control, and safety compliance. All right, thank you. Now it is better? Sound is okay, right? Is the sound okay? Not clear? Now it is okay? I'll use this now. Better. It's like a helmet better. All right. Yeah. Is it better now? Yeah, great, right? Sound is smooth, right? Great. Out of all these, is it too loud? No. Right. Okay. Great. Out of all these six, which one do you think is the most compelling one? Which means that you want to really go and do it today itself, right? Look, read all the fit. Right, right, right. Let's look at this way. Okay. Um, in project planning, who is the expert actually helping you in the process, apart from you in the game? Like a
Main key guys.
key guys, right? And how much time they take to do this, right? So why we need to know this is because with AI, how are we going to change the game, right? This is where we are coming in, right? How much time it is taken today, how much efforts are going into doing these things, and at what quality these things are getting emerged, right? Of course, conversations are good. Human to human conversations are always good to kind of emerge things, but there are a lot of things which doesn't require that, right? A lot of things which require real documentation. Which area do you think is the hardest in this? Can you just say that? Design and engineering, all right. You need experts, you need a lot of time to kind of do that, right?
Precision.
Yeah.
Precision there.
The precision is important, all right. I'm sure you all have gone through the process of doing it in a time when AI was not there, right? There was no AI to help you in it, and you've gone through. I mean, you might be wondering why we need. We have been living a great life without AI also. So why do you need it right now? But I think the whole idea of using this is because there are more and more competitors who are going to use this very fast, and we can't be like staying without doing it, right? So there is a lot of interesting competition which can come up from probably builders who are like using AI more and more compared to what we do. So if nobody in the construction is using AI, then we are fine, right? We are in the equal level playing field, right? But it's not going to be like that, right? There are going to be 20% of the players who are going to be super aggressive in using AI, and that is where we need to really learn this. I mean, the whole idea of why we are here, right? Great. Okay, how do we now start with our AI journey? As I said, start with non-critical documentation task, number one. Number two is training a small team. It can't be a lonely journey. Most of us feel that, I am the only AI guy in my team and I feel special about it. It's cool to be there. I mean, the point is that you will feel lonely after some time, right? You can't do a lonely game with AI because you need people to look at it, verify it, validate it. You need a team, a small number of people who believe in the potential of this model, right? And who are they? Who can that be? How can we get them to be part of this game? Like once you kind of pick up some ideas, once you understand how this is how it is done, then you need a small team. How many of you have a small team whom you can actually go back and say, have fun 10 minutes? Hey, did you try this? I mean, let's try this. It's like a learning thing, right? You need to start learning with a small group of people who will do it. And that is going to be fun. You can't do it alone, right? How many of you feel now you can have a couple of people at least to talk about this who will also be using AI for similar problems within your context? Raise your hands. You have, right? Do you think that's a good idea to have that small team? Right? Thirdly, we can, from the non-critical activities, we can move to a bit of more complex applications. And then we look at measuring results before full implementation, right? How many of you feel that putting data into ChatGPT is a problematic thing? You feel so. You feel so. There are a couple of people who feel so. All right. How can we solve that problem? If you feel you are putting your most important project documents, including finance or whatever, into this ChatGPT, will someone else take away our information? Will a competitor be able to search based on... How many of you feel that a competitor will be able to search your data and retrieve if you put your data into ChatGPT? You feel so, right? Okay. Your fear is actually valid, okay? But what you can do, in that situation is do two things. One is, if you're using a plus version, you can actually go to ChatGPT settings to set the data control, which means that we are not allowing ChatGPT to use our data, right? Just give you an example. Why I'm starting with this, even before giving a demo, is because a lot of people still fear, whether need to put the data into it or not, right? So let's see how we can get better at it. If you look at ChatGPT here, you go to settings, you go to data control, and you will see something like improve the model for everyone, right? Which means this is a place where they decide whether the user wants to give the data to the model. And if you can switch it off, I think that's the step number one from our side, to not let our data go into any kind of model training, right? This is step number one. What is step number two? If you have any personally identifiable data, which is called PII, right? Which means that you uploading the estimate, but you have the name of the project, right? If you're uploading a document, but you have the name of the client, right? So you're removing the identity can actually be a easier step for someone trying to work with any of these AI models, right? Thirdly, which is a slightly expensive step, is to use a ChatGPT's enterprise version, which is a slightly more expensive one, which I think is costing at $30 per user, whereas plus version is $20. ChatGPT team version is a $30 product. So they have put various layers of security based on the pricing, right? Maybe once you find AI to be useful for some of the non-critical activities and you want to shift to critical activities, that's the time where you can actually think of a team version, right? Which will give you the security and data confidentiality which is required, right? Now, how many of you know OpenAI, like the ChatGPT's mother company, OpenAI, is being used as a LLM for US defense and US government? Right? People ask, right? Hey, defense is where all the most critical information is there. So OpenAI is working with them. There is a thing called ChatGPT for GOV, which means governments, especially federal government agencies, are working with them. There is something called an attorney level contract between the government and the OpenAI to work on it. So if you are part of an enterprise version, what happens is you have an attorney level contract, which is a legal contract between the LLM and your company to not let use data anywhere, right? But you don't need all that today. All you need is two things: remove the identity. Second is user data control, right? Now, do you feel slightly more comfortable by, on this sharing of data? Or are there more questions? Even before putting the first prompt, we are asking this question, right? Right, but only less than 3% of the people do that, right? And model is actually now not taking data from the users. They're only taking feedback from the users, right? So just to get this, a good question actually, since you asked this, right? What is GenAI doing is called unsupervised learning. Means that you don't need to supervise the AI to learn or teach it anything. That's the structural, how the transformer architecture works. Second thing is that when you get an output, you're giving a feedback. When you're getting an output, you're asking more. When you're getting an output, you are like, debating with it, challenging with it. So there is a little bit of conversation which it takes as something called reinforcement feedback, right? These are two things which makes Gen AI special. One is unsupervised learning, wherein the AI is self-learning. In the ML world, it was not self-learning. We had to teach it. So the reason why it took a lot of time to learn, right? Whereas if you ask the LLM builders, they don't know how they are learning because it has kind of neural networks which is learning in itself, right? So two things. One is it is self-learning, fastest self-learning in the world. Second is it's getting feedback on a daily basis. 500 million users in ChatGPT giving feedback every day. Every conversation is almost like 2.5 billion searches every day in ChatGPT itself. So 2.5 billion searches, and its feedback is making these models better and better. Like you said, it's getting the feedback daily basis. And the reason why it is able to improve so drastically is because of this, right? Okay. Let's go back now and see how we can, once again, So this is about the safe and responsible use. Anyone wanting to kind of feel confident, go ahead and work on it. So if you can't work with the technology if you're not fully confident about it. Yes or no, right? You need to trust the technology first of all. Like, when did you start trusting GPay? After 10 transactions, 100 transactions, they're not taking any money from us. Instead, they're giving cash rewards to us. Wow, that is good. Interesting. I'm giving cash and they're giving cash rewards. I mean, how does it work, right? Right. Yes. Correct. Right. So my question is like this: when did we trust GPay? Your GPay is connected directly to a bank account. This is data, right? Imagine if savings main bank account is, on what level? True authentication. That's it. It has, right? You look at your cloud data. So Google Cloud, some of you are using AWS, Google Cloud, right? To have all your data. Netflix is running on AWS. The entire company is running on AWS, which is another company, right? Netflix, the entire content is in AWS. So how does it work, right? NVIDIA's so if you look at that, like OpenAI is actually like a wrapper of NVIDIA, right? And so there are many other tools which are running as a wrapper of OpenAI, right? So this is how the whole ecosystem works when we have to believe in it, trust it, and use it for our advantage, right? Look at Google Cloud, AWS, Microsoft Azure. There are companies running on Microsoft Azure, right? So what I feel is that once you can trust and verify, but these are some basic steps you can actually take to ensure that you're taking that first step. That's the reason I said non-critical task first. Once you build it, you get it better, right? Great. Third thing is, how do we kind of, when you start working with, AI models, how can you remove two things? One is remove your identity, but at the same time, even if you want to use your identity, because using your identity can actually make the output far, far, far better, right? Now, that's a factor you kind of use, whether you should give the identity and get a far better output, or should I use limited information and give suboptimal output, right? So question is on us again, as an AI user, whether I need more advantage or less advantage, right? So we can talk about different things, like things which have not done earlier. So some of you in the construction space itself, there are so many new things coming up, like sustainability reporting, green buildings, new ideas. And all the expertise required for that area need to be built in. You need to acquire that, you need to have an expert, you need to talk about it, you need to read about it. AI can be used as a great way of, learning and building on those things, right? Now, some of the tools which I want to share with you today would be, like, I'm sure to start with, again, go-to is ChatGPT plus version, Claude, which is very interesting for data visualization. Anybody wanting to know data visualization, Claude has a very, very interesting use cases. You have Gemini Enterprise, Google Gemini. I think we only mostly use free versions today, just to show you. So, okay. So what if you have Excel sheets, right, but not visualized in any form, right? Excel sheets are plain numbers, rows and cells, right? And most of the people during dashboards, or you want to have a leadership meeting, you don't know how to convert that in an interactive dashboard where we can make sense of these things, right? So upload an Excel, convert it into a data visualization, a story which we can clearly see, right? We get an example out here, right? So starting from text-based, so GenAI can actually produce text, voice, code, image, video, music, all that. It can generate it. So generative AI, because it's able to generate it, right? Generate text, generate voice, generate code, all that. Now, in terms of design and visualization, we use something called a multimodal capability, which we're talking about creating images, 3D models, videos, all that. And then we come to workflows. Okay, let's start with some of the, so let's start with prompting. Okay, now once we go to ChatGPT, this is the interface you see, and most of the time you kind of throw a keyword into it and we start talking to it. Let's see how we can use some of the top-notch examples of sorry. All right. Let's take project planning and scheduling for that matter, okay? Now, just before that, I want to ask you, what is the structure of a great prompt? You say prompt, right? Like somebody said prompt, right? So there are ordinary prompts, below average prompts, great prompts, which give you ultimate results. So 1% of the users in ChatGPT use mega prompts. Now we're going to discuss how to create a mega prompt and work with all these tools, right? So what is a mega prompt? Say we are assigning a role to ChatGPT. Say I want you to act like a sustainability focused architect with experience in urban buildings, right, and landscape, right, which gives ChatGPT a very clear idea about what is the domain access this person wants, right? So which is called as a role, right? Now let's look at what is a task. The task is to create an high client appeal idea, an idea where a client would be really appealed about. And I'm giving some information about the client as well. The client is has gone to 10 architects, spoken to so many people, has got a lot of Instagram ideas, right? But I want to convert this client, right? So you're giving that particular task to it, right? You're saying the goal is to get them interested in this particular project, right? You're very clear about that. You're saying the format I want is very simple. I want a format of a one-page proposal because this person don't read too many pages, right? One page, right? Or a table for that matter. Then you're saying, okay, there are some constraints to it. Like the constraint is that this client is actually looking at to do this project in 4 months' time, which means that the project management should be super fast to get that project done, 4 months' time. Constraints. Second is that I don't have a lot of people to do this project. I only have 2 members to do this. So there's a team, time, and budget, right? Becomes a constraint, right? The conditions is that this project is in Kerala, and now we have to comply to these rules and guidelines, right? So there is a geographical context to what we're talking about, right? And now that's it. And we are trying to create a structure of a mega prompt for construction industry in a table, right? I'm just saying I'm making a prompt in the ChatGPT itself, right? So just to give an anatomy of a prompt, right? Now what it does is it's going to now explain everything in terms of giving an example, role, task, goal, format, constraints, conditions, right? And look at what it did, right? In the role, it clearly mentioned that you're an expert in civil construction and project planning, cost estimation, and sustainable building practices in Indian context. Look at the specificity, right? It's so contextually rich that you will be able to even define the entire problem so clearly. So you may be wondering, oh, making a prompt itself is a big job. Then people want to give the job to AI. Now AI is kind of telling us, make a proper prompt and come back, right? But I think this is going to stay for some time. Even if you want to build AI agents or work with AI, this bit of prompt engineering is going to stay for at least 2 years, looking at how things are changing, right? So does it make sense for you to kind of use this as a mega prompt structure? So people who are using already, do you think that structure really helps you to kind of get an idea of how to interact with AI? Raise your hands if you feel so. Yeah, you feel better, right? Now let's look at one by one, okay? Let's look at this. Now I've prepared a small, I've kind of created some structure, right? We don't have to kind of do it right now, but let's say for a project thing, I'm putting this prompt here and asking, say, hey, you means AI is a senior project planner for a mid-rise residential building. It's not a mid-rise means maybe 8 to 10 floors, right? Okay, in city, in Kochi, right? Task is to create a detailed Gantt chart, maybe as a part of project management plan, and resource plan. So what is the project size? Maybe you can just give me an idea, 50,000 square feet. Construction project starting on, say for example, 10th of August, ending by say 10th of December, right? Goal is to ensure zero timeline slippage and 10% cost buffer, right? Constraints align with the local building codes, which is, say, for example, Kerala, right? Right? KMBA, right? Yeah. Right. And local availability trends. Context is land acquired, permits cleared, contractors shortlisted, include dependencies, milestones, and risk mitigation strategies. Don't you think this is a proper problem statement? How many of you feel this is a proper problem statement? Let's see what kind of output it comes up with, right? Now, so it's kind of structured. So once we gave the problem, it kind of structured and gave a proper structure to us. And then it's asking, hey, can I now generate a full Gantt chart? Yes. That's all you have to say, right? Because it is asking you whether to make a Gantt chart or not, right? Maybe take some 10, 20 seconds to kind of create that. And it can be directly gone to Excel sheets, like so Google Sheets or whatever, right? Now, from the mega prompt structure, what is your learning? What is the best learning from that? The more richness to the context, the better we know what kind of problem we are solving with AI, right? Because as a user, we need to know what exactly are we solving with AI, and that structure actually helps us to do that.
AI is starting to find a way of doing 6 months in Kerala.
Yeah. Maybe that's why it's analyzing, right? 50,000, right? Yeah. Let's see how it comes up with. Very interesting question, actually. It will have to have a lot of resources. When Joseph said 50,000, I said, okay, let's do it. I know. Right. Okay, let's see how it comes up with. Okay, what we can do is let's try and see whether this can be done. Now I'm trying to see whether the same prompt can be given to Gemini and see what happens there. Yeah. We are multitasking AI people, right? So if one AI can't do anything, we will contact another AI, right? So that's how it works. Yeah, same data means publicly pre-trained data, but then their intelligence and everything has improved a lot, right? Based on the feedback, right? If you look at ChatGPT is the most popular, 500 million users. You have Claude. Claude is like very limited, but high quality users. So if you go to Claude, why you're able to get slightly better, refined, sophisticated output is because the users are sophisticated, right? So they have given better feedback and the feedback loop is better. Whereas ChatGPT is like mass, right? Like you have millions of people using this, right? But again, wisdom of the crowds, basically, right? But whereas Claude has a very limited number of people, less than 100 million people doing it, right? Okay. Yes. So it says it has prepared, like, and then kind of do that, right? Okay. Now the next step is sometimes you feel the output from AI is doubtful. Yes or no? How many of you feel that how to deal with doubtful output from AI, right? What is your next approach? Give it up. Write a Facebook post bad about AI. Is that how it works? No, the point is here. Exactly. So let's now try. So right now you said 50,000 square feet, 6 months is very impossible. Okay, now this has prepared something, right? Now I'm saying, I'm asking it to critically evaluate its own output, which means that expose all the biases and critically evaluate its output. The number one, sir, timeline compression risk, right? Right. Right. It understood that this is not going to be done in it's going to be very ambitious, highly ambitious, right? So it understood that. And then it is going to tell you the bias behind it is very high optimism bias. Joseph is always optimistic. And and he says optimistic bias, right? And and then it gives a recommendation to say how it should be done, right? Introducing float time. That's the idea of doing time collection projects. Then it talks about the second challenge, which is pretty obvious, which is labor availability and productivity. Right? And it talks about the next bias saying availability heuristic, which is a bias which says that hey, labor will be available all the time, anytime, at the way we want, right? Right. Third thing is resource allocation conflicts, right? Again, challenge, bias, and recommendation. Then you talk about the next one, which is risk mitigation gaps. We talk about, again, recency bias, focusing on common construction risks seen in past projects rather than probing site-specific threats. So look at, they have kind of listed 6 different challenges, project-specific challenges. Second, the biases which have gone into even asking that output itself, right? So we've got an input which is crazy. Second, the output which is again equally crazy. Third is like we are evaluating that output with the prompt itself, right? So what is the learning from this? How do we use it better? I want you to kind of share that, like whatever you've observed. One is like, I think when we have a real problem, it is a realistic thing, right? I mean, now we have kind of used as a template, right? Second,
You can feed in as much maximum data as possible, and then within the short span what you can,
right,
and then make AI create the
rest of it, right? And then if you feel doubtful, right, don't wait for like, okay, not verifying it, that ask AI itself to kind of fix it, right? So there is a self-fixing mechanism. So, I mean, in the,
many of these concept
right, right, very nuanced, right? Yeah.
So generalization doesn't really
Work, yeah, yeah. Get that, right? All right, so let us move to the next one, which is again into cost estimation and budgeting, which is a bit on finance. We would need a lot of data, but what we're going to do is we want to ask AI to create sample data for us, right? Okay, let's see what Google Gemini has done. Very similar stuff. I'm not able to verify any of it. Why? Because it's a very specific thing. But yeah, they have come up with a proper, Gantt chart for that matter. Let's try the next one, which is you are a cost estimator for a. Now you have to help me with a bit more realistic example so that we try that. Okay.
maybe you can go for a prefab, 50,000 prefab construction. You can.
All right. Okay. Can we use that here? The type of the project is a prefab project.
Just flow page might be something like 9.
What is the time period?
Time period you can give 6 months, and then flow page maybe 10,000.
Okay, there are a couple of questions. Prices must reflect. So if you look at the prompt, the idea is to create a cost estimator of the project. We are not using the same prompt. It's another prompt, a cost estimation planning task, right?
Final cost you need the square foot cost what you want.
Yes, exactly.
You can provide something like 2,500.
Right. Yes, and client has a fixed budget amount for this. That's a difficult thing, right? For prefab, like, okay, fine. Let's see. You can read it, right? You are able to read it? Yeah. If you want, I can lights of the bit better visibility. Fine. These three lights maybe then much visible to everyone, right? Yeah. Okay. Here. No, not here. Fine. Thank you. This is better, right? Have a quick look at it and see how they have kind of arrived at this cost estimate, and what are the, how the table has arrived. Category, description, cost, percentage of total, and notes, right? Total estimated project cost, key assumptions. Is it a good start to have this, or is it, how do you feel? I mean, just from your perspective. Basic stuff, right? So how much time this kind of a breaker takes, like,
Normally,
all.
when you are years of experience.
Yes. Imagine someone without that probably.
Kind of late.
Right. Yes. So for a fresher maybe, or somebody new to this, they would find the structure useful. Why? Because they know that what are the terms, items, everything, right? Now, how do you evaluate this? How do you go and reevaluate this? Like, hey, this is good or not, right? Now, we got this, and now we are asking, yeah, please.
The numbers, it's like 6,000 lakhs, 6,000 lakhs.
Yeah.
No, that is for the materials. Which is lakhs. 6,000 lakhs.
I didn't realize that there was growth.
Yeah. Right. So let's see. Right. So I'm asking it to critically evaluate the numbers, right? Now, when in doubt, evaluate, right? I mean, that's the only way to work with any of these tools.
Everything is gone into that U10 format.
Right. Yeah.
Everything is into 10.
So we can say 110 million, right? INR. Is it right? Yeah. But that's not the way AI works now. We should be able to get it. We are actually now letting it know how it should work, right? The point here is, yeah. So I've kind of asked it to kind of make sure now it has changed it. If you really look at it. So we said that there is a confusion in crores and lakhs here. Can you fix it? So it's just like a person, like you're talking to a finance guy, hey, there is a confusion. It understood, it fixed it. Like now the whole change has happened, right? Now, if you look at this, it kind of understood what 11 crores is, 1,100 lakhs, and now kind of made that, right? Now, in a given scenario, most of us would have given it up. Yes or no? We would have given it up, maybe with trash ChatGPT, create a screenshot and share it to people that I am still intelligent, right? But what has happened here is just by giving that fixing thing, we are asking it to fix itself. So I've gone through where they have created an entire code base and there was an error. Now, what will I do? Right? If there are 4,000 lines in a code, how will I go and fix it? So I ask AI, can you go and fix whatever error is there? Right? Then the extra compute power is applied to it, and then it goes and fix itself. Right? So this is why self-learning and self-fixing is happening. Right? Now that's where we're still collaborating, we are verifying, but we are not giving up. Yes or no? Right? That's the whole idea. I think good that mistake happened. Why? Because now we know how to go back, ask for it, how to fix it, right? I mean, this fixing game is required only in this, maybe in next 2-3 months. I'm sure GPT-5 will fix all this problem of numerical inaccuracies, right? Let's go to the next one. Let's look at sustainability compliance, which I'm not sure whether this is part of your daily thing, but an activity which you don't do on a daily, regular basis would require you to have some expertise, right? Like, so most of them do it, right? Now, what if you want to kind of figure out, hey, this has to be done, right? Let's see. Again, you got an expert here, green building consultant, and then recommend design and material changes to achieve whatever. The building type could be like what? Apartment, okay. Project in climate zone, maybe tropical, right? And all that, right? Target percentage, I don't know, like maybe 5%, okay. Constraints like maintain architectural engine and all that. Then you have the material types, current design uses, right? And the annual energy demand is what? 250. KW is fine, right? Okay. So again, 2,500. Great. We can even ask it to suggest some different layers of certifications possible with this, right? Let's say assume this, right? We are asking it to assume it, right? And also give 5 levels of certifications, right? Whatever. I don't know whether it's 5 or 3 or whatever, but I am asking it to kind of make it. All right. Great. So there are areas which we don't know also. I mean, sometimes we are just brainstorming, right? Like where we can have a strategic tiered recommendation for your tropical apartment project, targeting lead, all that. So there are different levels at which they're trying now to give it, right? Level 1, what is the target certification? Now, if you look at here, it'll say estimated energy reduction is this, low, all that. Right? Now, if you look at this last output, right, I can run a quick simulation to show exactly how each level has that. So run the simulation, right? This is called the nudge question, which means that when it gives the output, it also asks you whether you need this. 2-3 things, right? And most of these 3 things are like very doable with AI because AI is kind of asking it to kind of do that. Okay, by the way, are you finding this useful? Right? I mean, I know that there is a little bit of, here and there, but yeah. Sure.
See, it's coming on the screen, but maybe some kind of snippets, if you could make it as a small literature, it could be passed down.
Oh, sure. Definitely. This whole document, right, the mega prompts, I give it to you.
Yeah, some kind of.
So you can go around and try that. And once you try that, you need to have lesser effort to do. Otherwise, mega prompt will look like a lot, right?
You wouldn't be able to go into it. You could make it a small kind of
Sure.
one-page leaflet or
Definitely. This is yours, right? So now, when we asked it to create a simulation, it created a simulation, right? Right? Okay. I think people are not excited about this use case. Let's go to the next one, right? There are 20 use cases now. Anybody? You were asking? All right. Now, how many of you feel RERA compliance is something which is part of your portfolio? Mostly builders, right? Maybe we can try that just to get an idea, right? Because anything to do with compliance, anything to do with amendments, legal, makes it easier, right? For example, you are saying you are a role compliance officer, RERA. Project type is probably say, it's like apartment again, right? And in, say, for example, we are now taking an example of Kerala, right? Project involves a number of units. Say, for example, it could be 40 units, right? So without mega prompt, you will be putting all these things in 5-10 prompts, right? You will keep adding, hey, this is 40. So at least having that problem statement in one structure really helps. Now, in that particular project, 40 apartments, Kerala specific, project, this is what we're getting: RERA filing, category, document name, details, official names, and everything, right? And what it needs to be done, right? Now, what if you want to kind of make this for FAQs, right? So make FAQs, make 10 FAQs. Sometimes what happens is when you get an output, you don't know how to read it. It's very. So this would help. Converting that into FAQs really help, right? What is the minimum requirement for registering a residential apartment under in Kerala? All that, right? It helps you to convert a complex document into 10 or 20 FAQs, because 20 FAQs is what we need to know. 80% of the things will be done with that, right? So this is what you call as content repurposing, which means you got the output, you convert that into FAQs, right? Let's take another example of construction risk assessment. Okay. Some of it might be repetitive, but yes, let's try and give new context to it. Now this is a very interesting project, right? So what if you have a 10-page document about everything about the construction, right? So you don't have to write a prompt like this. All you have to do is to upload that document with that context into it and say, list out all kinds of risks for this construction project, right? It will go to list out operational, financial, environmental, legal, all kind of risks, and say how to mitigate that, right? Let's say now again, help me with this. What is the project type? Say, for example, commercial in region, say, okay, fine. Let's see. Project is in ideation stage, right? Now it is going to list out some risks out there, operational risks, financial risks, everything. And then once we have all the kind of risks, what we can do is to give a bit more context and ask it to create a risk report for this particular project, not a generic report, right? This is a report for this particular project, right? Make a specific report for this project. Assume all data and numbers. So I'm asking you to assume all the data and numbers, leaving the decision of putting all the context to it, just to get an example out there, right? construction risk analysis report. It's taking all data on its own and say, hey, I'm going to make a planned budget for 210 crores, plan completion 30 months, subcontractors 7, and then creating a full executive summary, which means it's a risk management report, risk matrix with every category risk, P1, everything. And comes out with a report. This is possibly like when we asked it to assume the numbers, right? Now, sometimes we need to kind of play around with these tools. We don't have data. What you can do is to kind of ask it to create sample data in itself or assume data and figures, right? So that until you kind of are comfortable with these tools, you can ask it to assume the figures and then you will be able to see how it works, right? Does it make sense? Is this right? Like in case if you don't have real data, but still you want to know how these things will come up. Right? Risk matrix again. Now, with all the risk matrix in place, assume that you are going to be meeting someone, like say, give 10 questions which an investor would ask about this risk and get answers for that. What does it mean? You are actually asking AI itself to create 10 questions which potential investors would ask about this risk project, right? And then how can we answer that? Right? Is it interesting? Right? Like, so we have the risk management report done. The next step is that we are asking to use the same data to say, can you create potential investor questions and give answers that can be convincing for them, right? Which 3 risks could cause the biggest financial damage to the project? We have already created that, right? How are you preventing design errors from cascading into construction delays? Answer is there, right? Now you're saying that investors are super skeptical. Give clear data-driven answers, which means that you want next level of questions, right? Which means, again, questions from potential investors, which 3 risks could cause the largest financial damage? And your answer is, about price volatility, design scope creep, right? Monsoon flooding and all that, right? And then you have other questions also related to potential investor questions, right? Absolutely. Right. Because sometimes a consultant might not be able to imagine what an investor potentially may ask, right? And even if they imagine, they don't have the real answers. This is kind of making them ready all the time. Yes. So good that you said DPR. Now maybe with this, can we make a DPR, right? So it's an outline we are making because the other one would be detailed. But once you have the outline, you can go back and expand and make a full-fledged project about it, right? Now, sometimes the tone of the entire output will be very serious and technical, right? But what if you want to change the tone of the entire output into more customer-centric, more happening, kind of a thing? Usually when we give proposals, it's like very technical and people may not like it all the time. You have a technical report, but you also need to have a customer-friendly report from the way, right? Now, if you want to change the tone, what we can do is to create a client or investor-friendly report with a different tone, right? Which means we don't know what the tone is, but we're asking it to create a different tone, but investor friendly. And it's going to make it won't look like a technical report. It would look like more of a confidence building report, right? So then look at the change of language. It changed into opportunity. Why now? What investors care most about, right? How we are managing the top risk, cash flow turn. I mean, it becomes a pitch deck right now. It's not just a risk report. It's not a DPR now. It's a pitch deck in a very modern setup, right? So change of tone can be helpful, because sometimes when you prepare technical reports, you don't know how to convert that into an investor friendly pitch deck. The tone can happen right now. I think that's what we've seen today, right? Now it is asking 6-slide investor pitch deck, right? Copy of 6-slide investor pitch deck, which means only 6 slides. What should go in each slide? Looking at the entire project, right? Project snapshot, the opportunity, key content, visuals, slide 2, slide 1, everything, right? Which means someone building this would be able to kind of logically look at the sequence of the entire content. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to go back and see, hey, where is this content, right? And the entire content is here. 6 slides, that's it. Right. Now you want to convert this into an email pitch, right? Make this into a compelling email pitch to top investors, right? For example, you want to kind of make that into a document. Forget about all the DPR and all that. Just an email to get an appointment or whatever talking about. Maybe it may not be your use case, but I'm just saying content repurposing, how it can be done, right? So look at this now. I am reaching out with a rare de-risked entry into Kochi's fastest growing. So the whole language has changed here, right? Why Marina One is important and different. Funding ask, very clear. So when it comes to making an email like this, might take a lot of your cognitive effort otherwise, right? To get there and to kind of structure that. And we are now able to make that entire DPR into a investor ready email, right? Which talks about the entire project in a very simple, straightforward way. But at the same time, making it attractive, right? Is it useful, right? I think the whole process of how we have converted each of this content is where we are. So this is a thought process actually. So this is how we can have conversations, right? So it's all about how we want the thought process to get built and how do we want to use it, right? Let's go to the next example, which is again, okay, so far we have not done any bit of upload of PDF or Excel sheet or anything, right? What if we can try that as well and see? How many of you have really tried and uploaded your documents and worked on it? Like some of you would have done it, right? Okay, now I'm kind of saying, into the PDF, right? For example, this is where you actually upload the documents and then, or you can drag and drop it. What we're doing here is that I'm saying assume all data and create sample data for making the output, right? So to make things easier, it is going to create sample data of procurement, which means a lot of information on procurement, right? Material, equipment type, everything. So assumptions for this example is already mentioned here, and then you are taking the supplier scoring matrix, right? So this is data created, synthetic data, and then it comes up interpreting what it is, recommendation, and make a... Okay, since we got this, now we don't know what are the insights which you can get out of it, right? Like, so reading in the whole document is a lot of deal, right? 5 insights from this in a table that will help me decide on procurement better, right? We have the sample data right now. Now we are converting the entire into this thing. From the sample data, what we did is we asked to create 5 insights. We don't know what are the insights we want, but we asked to create 5 insights. Right? It came up with insight, observation from data, and procurement decision impact. Right? Now let's look at hidden insights. The insights which are like sometimes hiding inside the data, but we are not really sure about what it is. Most of the time, when I put hidden insights, that's when I really get insights which are not very obvious. Obvious data is available to everyone because you are inside the context. You will be able to read most of the insights. But things which we may probably overlook, things which we may not focus on because the connection between the data variables are like very different. Right? right? This is getting live streamed also, right? Right. Okay. I know it's been some time. We are kind of working around this, but do you think this is useful? Insights, hidden insights. How many of you feel this is useful? This very simple prompts, talking about making it as easy as possible. Now, what is the next step, right? Now comes marketing. How many of you feel that a bit of, so you've been into building and construction, but there is another domain which you may not have time to explore, right? Which is marketing, writing campaign material, right? Or even for that matter, some bit of bid proposals, all that, right? So we'll talk about a little bit on documentation today. Now, if you want to kind of do this now, we are talking about real estate marketing strategies. We are accessing the intelligence of assume all data and figures and context and give. When I put the prompt, now we've got into asking AI to assume it and then give me this, right? So it's creating a small brochure based on whatever we've done. Project overview, everything, all data created by AI itself to make this output happen, right? Now we feel that, okay, project is looking good, but most of the time these projects are now evaluated by the young members of the family, right? And you want to make that look very, very good, right? If you feel like that now. So our language is probably appealing to millennials or maybe elderly people, but I mean, now the marketing team decides, okay, let's try to make it cool and Gen Z friendly or whatever, making it. Now we are saying the audience is Gen Z and younger members of the families of customers, right? So we need to appeal them. You don't have to write all that. You just have to say Gen Z, but I'm just sharing because we should know, right? Now it's creating something which is slightly different from what we saw earlier, right? It's kind of putting the entire content in a new vibe, right? You're talking about Insta-worthy life, right? Which is like so exciting for people. Suddenly they get the dopamine of Instagram, right? And then you're talking about cool stuff like USPs and EcoFlex and what's happening, right? Suddenly the language has changed. Now this might look a little cringe because, we are trying to intentionally get those people. But now what if we say make it more authentic, which means that we don't want to sound so cool just to kind of make it obvious that we are trying for young people. So we're trying to kind of make it even more authentic, but still retaining the young appeal for the campaign, right? Now it is getting better, right? So it's also version 1, version 2, version 3 of the whole game. So even if you do this, like I'm sure when you work with an agency, this whole 3 drafts will take almost 3-4 days, right? To come back, both have Zoom calls and all that. But now you have a proper scope of work or probably an idea which you can share with an agency better because scope of work is getting clearer, right? Does this make sense, right? In terms of changing it to the audiences, right? Now, what if you're saying that, okay, I want to make a call pitch about this and make it a converting one, which means that call should convert, that 10-minute call should convert, and my intention is to make that call pitch which can convert in 10-minute conversations, right? So example, in this they've kind of mentioned a call pitch. Now I want to know how each of these things really matter. Train me in doing that pitch. I'm not pitched anywhere, but I want to train myself in pitching it. Train me in pitching it and tell me why each section matters, right? In a table, right? So it's going to tell you, right? Now you know the behavior, right? How to do that, right? Sir is laughing, the way I'm trying to converse with AI. And I mean, this is very basic, okay? There are some crazy conversations which people really do. I'm trying to be very decent here. Okay. So now the whole call pitch is converted into call pitch training table. Train me. I'm new to this. Train me. What is the first 10 seconds? Why it matters? What are the delivery tips? All that, right? And giving this to someone probably can help them to see, hey, how do I look at it? Because you're starting from the beginning. We don't know what to pitch. This is a new project. We have no information before. Now we have a call pitch, marketing copy, Gen Z friendly copy, everything, right? Does it make sense? Like, I'm sure this is not part of most of your thing because maybe you are on the technicals. I don't know. Right? Some of you might different profiles out there, right? Great. This is basically for content repurposing. So you want it for Instagram, you want it for WhatsApp message. Now make a WhatsApp message out of it. No, right? So the whole email will become a WhatsApp message, right? WhatsApp friendly message, which is like with an emoji and all that, which helps people to build this, right? So makes it easy for people to do that. Shorter, which means you don't want a big one. Make it shorter. Make it like crispy. Now, this is another one with emoji, right? Emoji selection is a big process, right? Now, if you have to select 5 emojis, it will take 50 seconds, right? To do that. I mean, more than that, actually. We don't know which emoji to select based on that particular thing, right? For example, sky infinity pool. I have not seen even this emoji in the WhatsApp. It is there, I know it. And I don't know whether this is the right emoji for solar EV, but yes, it is, because it is about sustainability and all, right? Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because choosing of emojis is a big task. So we are talking about different formats of content. We started from DPR, okay? We started from DPR, then we came down to making it investor pitch, then we went to presentations, then we went to making it WhatsApp message, then all that in a single thread, right? Right? Now you look at this Gen Z friendly one-liner WhatsApp hook. They're asking whether you want that, because we understood that we are trying to appeal the young people, right? Let's see what they come out with. Wow. Copywriting at the best, right? This copywriter will charge you a lot of money for this, right? Like, after 10 iterations. Yeah. Tell me more. Yeah. Now it's coming up. Giving options after options after options, right? Now you have descriptions for 5 Instagram posts now, right? So I'm saying, okay, everything is good. Make Instagram posts for all that, right? So the way we have been working on marketing, campaign, communication, designing all that can be AI driven. I think AI does a good job in writing this stuff than the arithmetical stuff, right? If you look at it. So this is a POV reel, which means that you are taking the Instagram to POV reels, which means first person walkthrough of a Harbor Heights. I mean, you wake up here every day and all that story. Post 2 is carousel ad. Then you have a trending audio reel, and then a meme relatable post, all that. Right? You're asking Instagram bio of this project. How would the Instagram bio of this project will look like, right? So they say, 100%, look at this now, Harbor Heights, possession, December 2025. I mean, very clear. I mean, I don't think even if we spend half a day, we'll be able to arrive at this level of precision when it comes to designing for an Instagram, interface. Maybe a marketing agency can do it, but I mean, now we have options, right? These are option building stuff, right? Okay, let's look at a bit more complex activity which you're talking about contract managers does, which is again tender bid proposal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again, assume all data. Now it's like 10-page high scoring tender response framework. So what happens is when you have a tender document, all you have to do is upload that into here, put all your rest of the documents. So basically ChatGPT can hold 10 documents at a time. You put all documents together and then say, hey, read all the documents, read between all that and bring me a response to it, right? Can you imagine that, right? Yeah, I know, but because of the data confidentiality bit, yes. So here is the winning tender response bit, like executive summary, company profiles, and all that. And then we have this. Now we're asking it to kind of make a fully written one response, right? Say, or we would say make a checklist for this, right? So somebody getting a tender proposal can actually upload the tender document and say, make a checklist for this. Make sure that it's a checklist where I can go back and tick everything so that I can get the documents and get it together. Basically, a data gathering thing, right? Now, otherwise, a 25-page document, we don't know what are the documents you have to get it, right? So this is a tender response checklist which you can make. Executive summary, some checklist, company profile, all that. And you're asking it to make a tracking sheet, which means that you are making a tracking sheet so that you get it in Excel, you can tick it off, right? Okay. Meanwhile, let's do this just want to introduce you to Claude as well, just to make sure that we are not just in ChatGPT. Claude is also free for you. I mean, we can try and see how it works there. Yeah, sometimes having 2-3 tools are good because we get to know which response is better, which is more accurate, and can evaluate both of it and kind of give. So this is how Claude does. I mean, slightly different interface when it comes to doing that, but pretty fast in terms of delivering it, right? It's still analyzing. Yeah, that's not a problem. I think it would fix it. We have become lazy, super lazy, right? There was a reel about it, right? People just writing something because you just don't want to think while writing, right? Okay. So Claude does a decent job of this. It kind of comes up with a tender response based on like sample data and of course assumed data. And we're asking like 10 questions about this FAQs. Okay. So we want to know what is this document about, all that, without reading the entire tender document, right? So how do I determine the right pricing strategy? What if I don't exactly, all those fundamental questions, which probably a very good consultant would ask you with answers, not just questions, with answers, right?
How do you, basic question, how do you load this into the tender which flows?
Right.
Can you link it to the
Okay, so it would come as a PDF, right? Mostly as a PDF or a Google, I mean, whatever PDF, right? All you have to do is to upload that PDF out here, right? Or you can copy paste and put it here as well, right? But PDF is better. Any large file. So if it is not beyond 300 pages, every page will be read and analyzed by AI, right? So that is a context window right now. Correct. Right. So if there are 10 pages, there are 10 documents, it should all be below 300, which means it can be 30, 30, 30 and all, but it can't be more than that. But GPT-5 is going to change everything. GPT-5 will make it maybe more than 1,000 pages, which will solve all the problems. So current limitations will go away, right? Okay. Yeah, so they got my English, by the way. Tracking sheet was so bad, like my spelling was so bad, but it still got it, right? It created a tracking sheet of the entire tender response thing, and it said like status, honor, due date, notes, like so this can be created and shared with your person who is doing the tender. Hello, how are you? Just be here, please come back. And this is how it is done, right? Great. So if you look at, so we've taken some 8 examples. I want you to kind of reflect and share like what are your hidden learnings, right? I'm sure that each one of you kind of observed some interesting stuff which relates to you. What are they? We have taken 8 examples here. Something which probably you would have done, something which you have not done, something which you maybe want to try. it generates the speed of generation. All right. Wow, you have a believer, sir. Right. Great. What else?
It's still not giving the complete figure. Suppose we want a marketing brochure of 5 pages.
Right.
We should we need to go to another generative AI tool to create it. How is that? Can we have a completed?
Sure. Got it.
Okay, it's giving a taste of something.
Got it. Got it. I got it. So if you want a 5-page thing, right, you should say that you need a 5-page thing, right? If you say that I want 1,000 words of marketing content, be very clear in terms of the numbers, right? Right now, they will give you options based on what they like, right? Now, if you say I want to write a 1,000-word blog, make it very clear, right? If I say I want to make a 1,000-word blog, but with more statistics in it, make it very clear, right? So that's all about the prompting bit, right? So 5-page or whatever. So right now, if you look at Google's deep search or even Grok, it creates almost 30 pages of content. The output is 30-page content, the deep research prompt, right? So if you, let me share that. Yeah, so if you look at this Google Gemini, you would have, how many of you explored deep research in Google? It's like if you want to know, say, give right? I'm giving this deep research prompt to it. It'll take almost 10 minutes to bring it, but it'll almost go to 150 pages. It'll go to 150 websites, high credibility score websites, not random pages. So, for example, now it is going to start the research. So it says it ready in a few minutes, but this is going to create a 30-page report all about Rara. Whatever is available on credible websites is going to bring it. Let's see how it starts maybe, and then we'll go back and see rest of it, right? Okay, let's try to create a safety manual here. A lot of manuals, training manuals, safety manuals are required, right? And okay. Oh, is that the question? Okay. I thought it's a text bit, right? Okay. So no. Okay. You cannot make a brochure as an output in ChatGPT, but you can make text-based output, right? Yes. So Canva is there. Canva has an AI bit, so I'll show you how it is. Canva's AI bit is good. So, but again, it's very early stage. If you look at how you do here, very stereotype, and I mean, yeah, you can say that this is the template.
You can make it up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's not a handmade, what is called crafted design. It's a template design mostly. Canva is a professional one, by the way. I mean, the point is how to use it easily, right? So, a lot of tools are not easy to use. So, Canva made it so easy that anyone can use it, get stuff done, right? So if you like this presentation, this is made with Gamma, right? So, I've made this with Gamma. All you have to do is to kind of curate the content, paste the content there, and Gamma produces a 50-slide presentation, right? So the entire presentation which you saw here, right, is all in Gamma, and all these things. Yeah. Oh, output. So make a full output, structure it, and then go to Gamma, and it makes that 50-slide presentation 2 minutes. All structured well, right? I mean, then you can go back and edit it as well, right? So Gamma is a good example for slide preparations, right? All right. Okay, we are taking another example of assuming all data. Here we are creating a safety manual. A lot of safety manuals look all the same, right? It's very boring and people don't read it. Why? Because that's how safety manuals are. Now, how to make a safety manual interesting and creative as well, right? So there is one document which is for compliance. The another one is for real communication, right? Compliance is one which is like, you know why compliance is for, but the other one is we want to really communicate it. So for example, now we may need a safety manual in Hindi or Bengali or whatever, right? We would need that kind of information bit. So let's see, make this interesting for laborers, right? In Hindi with small snippets. So these are things we should know. Snippets. Snippets is basically like a small 50-word document which will tell exactly what it is, right? So learning snippet is explain one idea in 50 words. That's it. So Suraksha guide, Hamari site, Hamari Suraksha. Very simple. Snippets which will explain, for example, what is scaffolding, each of it, like lifting, all that in Hindi or Bengali or whatever, right? It helps to communicate with people better. Now you say pocket size laminated safety cards for workers, which is like part of the compliance. You can make it as part of your safety culture as well, right? So essentially, if you look at each of these prompts and the nudges and the output, basically getting a lot of ideas. Yes or no? Right? Idea generation, like, because the way we've been looking at one industry, the way we've been looking at one task is getting changed. You're getting options, ideas, you're able to kind of see new patterns, right? Which is I think this is more of a learning experience. And to convert that learning experience into real action project will take a bit more time, right? To kind of go back and see. So the reason I asked you, like, I think if we have to start doing 25 conversations per day with AI, which will take more than maybe like 30-40 minutes for you, right? And once we start, we develop that intuitive experience of understanding how AI works and how it's able to respond to the questions we have. We have that intuitive relationship with AI, and then once we start able to solve tougher problems as well, right? Now look at this pocket safety card, right? Converted the entire safety manual into a pocket safety card in Hindi, right? Right, so many things, right? So it's all up to us, our imagination, our style of thinking, which is amplified by AI, right? Which is like, this is not artificial intelligence, it's called amplified intelligence. If you are very creative, it gets 10x creative. If you have an interesting thought process, it can help you to kind of better amplify it, right? Great. Okay, how many of you are excited about this, or how many of you are exhausted by this? Excited, please. Thank you. Okay, I want to ask the exhausted people, I mean, how can I help you? I mean, I know. This is, see, we have to follow a structure for the program, right? There is no other way, like, oh, sure. Great. I think that's a good one, right? Now, if I ask you, like, if you pick 3 areas, right? What are the areas which we'll go back and try and use this, right? At least to start with. You've seen some examples, okay? Some sample examples. I think we've seen 10 different examples. Now, from these examples, you would have realized what is the potential, what are the capabilities, how it can think, what's the thought process and everything, right? Think about 3 use cases, which you'll go back and say, no, I want to use this week itself. Make sure this is useful at work. So far, we were like a tourist. We were coming and just having a chat and going back, right? Now we need to stay there, be like a real person wanting to solve serious problems with AI, do serious work with AI. These are 2 different things, right? Being a tourist, having a chat, and then having to really work are 2 different things. Now, I want to hear from you actually. Where will you go and seriously use it? Which means that ultimately the AI will produce your work. Tomorrow you ask an estimation, but you're preparing that in AI. Of course, it won't come in version 1 or version 2, I'm sure. All you have to do is to kind of go back and try more, right?
At least a lot of improvement in preparing templates for various applications. This comes in a structured way.
Right.
You can, within feed, I think, can you contemplate data, like what the data you have,
Right.
and ask AI to incorporate that
Exactly. So great question. So right now, if you get a structure, right now we have data with us. Once you get a structure, you're happy with the structure, you can say upload the data and say now blend it with the structure. So it creates a structure which goes along with the data, and then you play around with it.
That can be made up.
Absolutely. We can try that now and see how it works. So I'm asking to create a sample data, okay, of say, okay, for stakeholder progress report, right? Report in a construction project. Assume all data. I'm asking you to create one. Okay, let's use that. Then we'll take another one, which is a structure, and then we'll blend it, and we'll see both of it, right? Okay. Or else what we can do is we can ask it to kind of put all this thing into a famous structure. If there is a framework or whatever, if you can name any of it, we will see how we can talk to it and see, figure out like, can you come up with 5 different structures or frameworks for using the data to be blended in, right? Okay, now we have data. Okay, we have a lot of data with us. Okay, what we can do is, based on this, prepare a RERA compliance checklist, which means it will pick up the data from there and use a thing.
Can we use Gemini for that?
Sure. We can use it. Both.
What are the items there?
Yeah. Icons. This one, this is about color coding. Yeah. Yeah, slide delay, ahead and all, right? Yeah. Both of like based on the progress. So it's kind of color coding the entire timeline for that, right? Now from this, it has kind of created a RERA checklist, include based on the data. So we have already created a sample data. Otherwise, you can upload the data. We've asked to include all that in one report. So now it will go back and pick up all this assumed data and put in this compliance report, right? Which means all the data which you've created is blended to RERA compliance report. Right? So if you have a structure with you itself, right? So if you have a specific structure, right? You can pick up that document and say, now blend this with this, right? So imagine you have a data file and then you have a structure file. So it'll go and pick up the right figures from that and then bring it here, right? Right. So you said like Gemini, right? We can go back and see whether it works in Gemini. We can go and copy paste in Gemini, or you want to start doing it in Gemini. Copy paste, right? Okay. Just to give you now the whole Gemini has kind of come up with a comprehensive guide to RERA based on all the documents they have read in the web. Look at this now. It's like some 30-page document based on seeing all what they've seen in the web, right? Right? It has read almost sources suggested in the report is like a lot, right? Researching all these websites, almost 30 plus websites. You can even create a infographic website quiz with it. So if you want to have a quiz with RERA, we can do that. Or you can create an infographic, which is, I think that's a pending task, which is there in Gemini. What we do is we can go to another Gemini link and copy paste this and see how they can come up with this, right? Right. What do you want to do with it? Like, yeah, it's coding the entire infographic. So infographic is a web HTML page they're building with the 30-page document, right? So that it's easy to see and share and everything, right? Right. So this is what we got, like the entire compliance report for the project with the numbers which is there on the page. Yeah.
Can you, if you want to have structural drawings,
Super. Great. Okay, we will get into images now. It'll be fun. Okay, just want to show you a small experiment which I did yesterday. Because then we can save time on image generation, because image generation takes 2-3 minutes. I don't want to waste that time here. So yesterday I made something by
just asking. So you can do electrical drawings, comic drawings.
right. So what I did was just a basic example. Okay, I put this image in here and said, make an image of a 3D model that can be super appealing to the client, right? So if you have a drawing and if you want to convert that, then it became this, right? Because super appealing means it can't be just a drawing, right?
Can I ask you one suggestion?
Sure.
See, if you have in Pinterest or taking around 30 or 40 clippings,
Right.
what you like,
Yeah.
maybe a client,
Right.
and you have an image of your villa,
Right.
farmhouse.
Right.
If you want to incorporate the same things into that,
Yeah.
there are an AI tool which will really place it in locations where you specify and those kind of things.
Okay. ChatGPT can do that. Yeah. But not in a very straightforward way. I got your question. So first of all, we need to curate all the images. I put it in a folder, right? Right. So
You should explain which area the thing has to go in.
got it.
Certain artifacts to go into
Okay.
which area.
Good question. So once you see the thread, you will see some elements in it. Okay. Okay.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah. Great. So I just took an image. I found this is not a very client appealing image, right? So said client appealing, it made this, right? Now I said I want to make it show some measurements in the image itself to give an idea on the dimensions. So it created that. So when you show the dimensions, it just like made that dimensions pretty interesting, right? Then as I analyze this building dimension, suggest changes to make it green building. Just I don't know. I'm just trying to put it. Then it created all the current dimensions and then suggested some new dimensions to it. And then I asked to kind of create a new dimension drawing with that, right? Then it created this. Then I said, okay, make a 3D model of the building appealing to clients. And then they made it this as a sustainability, right? Because when it became green building, solar panels came in, everything came in, right? Then I said, okay, let's show the interior of the house. How would the house interior be? Then it showed this. Then I asked to make it show the interiors with ethnic Indian appeal. Then it made this. No, I know this is slightly early stage on how it looks like, because Indian ethnic appeal is what, it's like early version of what it can do. But yeah. I think this is more Jaipuri, more of Rajasthan. So anything to do with ethnic Indian appeal is more of that. So maybe you say Tamil homes or.
For you to get this image, your first image was just the elevation drawing.
Right.
For you to get the image.
With the same dimensions. So dimension will be the same, right? Now I'm not saying this is a perfect thing which you can show to clients, right? But what you can do, so this is the most interesting thing which I found. Put an illustration and then say make a client appealing thing, because it's very difficult to give a client appealing thing, right? Vastu compliance and all that, right? So each of these images took almost 2 minutes to create, because it had to kind of do that. So the reason I did this yesterday, because I know that this will almost take 15 minutes to do this exercise here. But right now you have a clear idea of this. Kerala exteriors. All right. We can do that now. Maybe traditional Kerala. Right. Let's see what it comes up with. Because there is a bit of this is not very deterministic platform, right? Yes. So if I put a picture of this, it will explain what the image is, but it will not explain who are sitting, right? Because it's not supposed to reveal any identity bit of it. But it'll tell you there are people who are wearing this, how are they looking? This looks like a, ethnic, race, all that, right? Yes, it can give. Yeah. If we take it properly, otherwise it will be assumptions. It's say like plus or minus 10%, whatever, right? Sure. So I think people are excited about image, right? Right. Great. So we can download one and then see how it works, right? So right now we are trying to see whether the image can be converted to Kerala traditional interiors. Looks like. Right. Looks like CG Earth property. Project apne cancel ചെയ്തത്. Right. Not bad, right? So from Jaipur to Kerala, we made that difference, right? Yeah. So, but again, the image generation capability, especially in terms of architecture, structural, is in an early stage with ChatGPT.
Where do they take all these images?
So millions of images from public domain data,
Pinterest and all goes into where they
all Pinterest taken to. Right. Okay. So we were talking about one example here, no? Structural. Can you help me on that? Like what exactly you're looking for? Okay. You want to download it or like? So how will I search? I mean,
you can Google for a
structural.
you have to Google typical AR drawing for a 3-bedroom. Typical architectural drawing for a 3-bedroom residence.
Of a residence, right? Let's see. Is this what any of it, or maybe
You have to make a plan. You goes down a little. Yeah, that one.
this one is good? This one?
You take a clear out.
This one?
Yeah.
This is a plan?
No, not that.
This one? This one, right?
Yeah. You can maybe take the right one, which is a bit more. Yeah, that one.
Let's see this. So you want to analyze? So, okay, once we put the image, we are asking it to structural analysis of this, right? Right? Basically, you want to do structural analysis of this image, right? Okay. I think he's getting his job done here. I know. So let's try and see how it works. So we're doing a structural analysis. You want a
Structural drawing.
right. So, but this is a structural drawing, right?
So that's an architectural drawing.
Okay. So you want to convert that into a structural.
Just with steel reinforcement and deep detailing.
Okay. Okay, got it. Now I don't know, right? So from this, so exactly the same structural drawing, right? പണിയെടുക്കണ്ട് പണി തുടങ്ങിയത് നോക്ക ഇന്നല്ലെങ്കിൽ നാളെ കിട്ടുന്നത് Because GPT-5 is getting better, no? So I've tried Claude, Gemini, and all for this exercise, but ChatGPT works well. Okay, this is the other project we did. We converted the entire document into a infographic, right? Gemini. No, there are some edge use cases. So, what ChatGPT can't do, what Gemini can do, what Claude can do, these are slightly so the 2-3 edge uses each of it has, right? Claude can do data visualization. For example, we'll take an example of data visualization. Okay, create sample data of a construction project. We say 25 variables and make a interactive dashboard for 12 months, right? I'm just asking it to create it, right? We'll come back. It will take some time. Meanwhile, we'll see what's happening here. Okay. Is this right or somewhat? What is next level? So maybe we can define it better. Make it detailed, right? So right. So maybe we can give a bit more feedback. We should be able to get image-based feedback with 2-3 versions you need to try. Sometimes even more, because the model is also learning that from here. Now here what we're doing is creating an interactive dashboard. It's an entirely data visualization bit. Yeah. Okay, so this is how Claude will convert a sample Excel sheet into an interactive dashboard. For example, if you look at this Jan, what happened, right? Or, we wanted it to create 25 variables, so it created 25 variables with all that. With full-fledged Excel data, it will do a good job. So you don't need a Power BI or Tableau. I mean, Power BI is a different tool, but this helps to get a lot of job done, right? So if you have a standard template for tracking all the construction metrics, that only one Excel is required to make a interactive dashboard. You can even publish and send a link to people, clients, saying that this is a dashboard, have a look at it, right? All right, I think ChatGPT is doing some job there, right? So how many of you have explored GPTs? So GPTs are nano versions of ChatGPT, but super good in doing one thing very well, right? Because ChatGPT can do 1,000 things. GPTs can do one thing super deep, refine the way we want. It's like a mini agent for us, right? So if you are in ChatGPT, you should explore custom GPTs. Let's show you some of the custom GPTs which you can actually make. Custom GPTs doesn't require any coding knowledge. All you need to know is what you want the GPT to do. Give the instructions and it'll make a proper custom GPT. So one custom GPT will be a mini agent which your team can use, right? So this is the most underrated feature of ChatGPT, if I would say, right? Because most of the people don't use much of custom GPT. You just have to say custom GPTs, right? It will take you to the link, right? Even in a normal dashboard, you will get it on the left side, GPTs, right? Now, if I say, so this is GPT which I made, learning snippets builder. For example, if I want to say a topic about velocity, say this is a topic I want to teach my kid on physics. Just put the topic and it'll create a learning snippet for you, which means a small learning snippet which will help to define it, create curiosity, and clarify everything about it. Right? Just that's the job of the GPT. Put any topic into it, it'll create a learning snippet, right? Similarly, you can create any kind of GPTs. One of the GPTs I made is on architectural drawing itself, so we will get there. For example, one of the GPTs, what it'll do is it goes and analyzes the entire structural drawing. But you can make any number of GPTs if you have a paid version. Anything repeatable. For example, if you're doing any task repeatably, GPTs are better because 2 tasks in a day, which means you don't have to prompt all the time. This will reduce the job of prompting because GPTs knows what the job is to be done, right? I don't know. I think it got it wrong. Let's go and see. It didn't. It hallucinated. I think it's the evening, no? So it's trying to do less jobs. Okay. Okay, I want you to quickly take you through some bit of curated AI tool deck which you can explore. Apart from ChatGPT, what are the other tools which are available for you to explore freely for whatever you have done, right? So general purpose AI assistants, we have ChatGPT, you have GPTs, then you have Claude, you have Perplexity. So have you ever tried Perplexity for that matter? Have you? Yeah. So Perplexity is super good for any kind of market research, and even for that matter, verifying facts, right? When it comes to going back and searching for it, right? For example, sometimes ChatGPT might hallucinate, but then Perplexity goes back to real-time web search and brings the information. So this is how Perplexity would look like. So for example, when I say 10 real estate projects in Kochi announced in 2025 with 100 crore and above outlay, right? In a table and reasons of why it is good, right? This is not Google search, right? You are making Perplexity to go and search for 10 real estate projects in Kochi announced in 2025 with 100 crore and above outlay in a table and reason. So it's like a lot of job to it. So now still it is making it, right? If you look at it, it's making it project name, developer authority, outlay, location, and description why it is good, right? Yeah. Right, right. So yeah, so more of real-time web search, but gets to things, right? Let's look at the other one, which is again Google Gemini. I'm sure that you would have seen this. How many of you use Grok? Grok is X platform, you know. And then you have QuenChat, which is by Alibaba, which also does a good job of like combining all the capabilities together. And then QuenChat. I'll send this document to you. Sure. Joseph, I'll send it to you. And then you have DeepSeek, which is equivalent to ChatGPT's O3 model. So ChatGPT's O3 model is pretty interesting for its advanced reasoning capabilities, which can do a lot of interesting complex problem solving. There's a similar thing which DeepSeek also does. You have specialized AI tools like, for example, Gamma, which made this presentation, GenSpark AI, which is again another platform which is more of a super agent now, which can do, say, sheets to docs to, building slides and everything. But yeah, so if you look at any of these tools, it would take at least maybe 10, 20 hours of learning time. So the more you kind of play around with it, more you intuitively work with it, you get to know what are the best use cases with this, right? So I think instead of going and scattering your energy everywhere else, it's better to spend time on some 2-3 tools properly, go deep and, build it, right? So I'm just sharing this with you because there are so many options out there, but the top 3 players still remains the same: OpenAI, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and say, for that matter, Google Gemini.
Using it, they have when you're using it on the same phone or whatever page, they have a pattern of
Exactly. Good that you said that. Like, so you're reminding me a lot of interesting ideas. So if you go to ChatGPT, you will get to know settings, right? Go to settings, you will see something called personalization, right? In personalization, you will see something very interesting. I'm not sure whether you have done this. You go to manage memories, which means based on all the conversation we had with the ChatGPT, it has kind of stored some memories about us, right? Now, if I want the ChatGPT to forget that I am working on this project, you can forget it. You can actually forget everything and become a new individual with ChatGPT also. So it'll basically, hey, hello, how are you? You are a new person, right? So that's how it works. So that makes the whole output more refined and kind.
If you want a totally different structure, you want
Yes, new personality, new, it's possible, right? Yeah, exactly. So it will unbias the whole game. At least it pretends to not, right? So it will at least, I mean, it's to help us, right, rather than trying to use it against us. All right. I know it's 2.5 hours now. I know that it's not easy to sit in, but you are super nice people basically, because you are helping to do this. Yes. Yeah. So as of now, subscription is the only model. Secondly, there is a model called API. So they give APIs to developers. For example, if I want to build an AI product, I have to get an OpenAI API, buy tokens from them. I would say like buy 2 million tokens at the price of like say 5,000 rupees. I buy that and I can run it to my users, right? So there are thousands and thousands of products running like that in OpenAI's API, right? Claude is also one of the platforms which does. So the revenue from the APIs also is increasing. Then you have the number of plus subscribers, Pro is like $200 per month. ChatGPT's Pro is at $200 per month, whereas Plus version which we're using is $20, right? So each of it has its own different capabilities, right? When it comes to doing it. And now waiting for GPT-5, which will change all the game, totally making it better, right? Now, real. Sudden real. This happens. Okay, interesting. Let's use ChatGPT's O3 model. I'll introduce you to that model because I'm sure some of you would have kind of tried that. If you go to this is where you switch the models. You go to O3, right? This is where the default model is 4.0, and you can go to O3 and ask for this problem, assume all data, right? And now let's see the difference between O3 model and the 4.0 model, right? O3 does a lot of thinking before it comes out. It uses more advanced reasoning, more compute power to give you the answer. Now, a complex problem is given to it saying dispute advisor. There is a dispute which happened, and now we have to kind of look at it now. Immediate triage, what is the action? Pre-mediation negotiation, what should happen? Mediator appointment, all that. It's giving a proper structure to the whole thing. Yes. With contract templates and everything, right? Gives us a structure. So sometimes maybe people without experience might be the first time they're seeing a dispute, right? And they don't know what to do with it. And transferring that knowledge of how to resolve disputes is very difficult also, because it's a human skill, right? Now this is more of like information helping them to get better at this, right? This is O3 model. You have other models which are like good for coding, mini reasoning and all that. So there are altogether 7 models, but primarily 4.0 and O3. Right. Yeah. This is a template. Absolutely. You can do that, like for this. Sometimes they give you embed code also, so you can code it in other websites. Right. So this keeps laughing at us now. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next ones. If you ever are interested to create a landing page or a web app or a proper, web product out of this, maybe Bolt is a good platform to try, because you have a free version where you can actually build at least 3 or 4 websites, right? So one of the so when I'm saying create a construction project tracker dashboard as a web app, right? Okay, this is not a great prompt, but if, for example, if you create this and go to ChatGPT and say make a system prompt for this to make it proper website, and make a Bolt new prompt, which means any prompt which I can use in Bolt can be made with ChatGPT, and you can go there and use it, right? So that the prompt will be super good. So this is a Bolt prompt which ChatGPT is creating, right? Yeah, prompt to create a prompt, but a good prompt. A bad prompt creating a good prompt, right? So okay, let's see how it is done. If you go to Bolt now, you will see, one second, where is that? Bolt is here. Okay, I'm putting the whole Bolt here, app here. Just, yeah. So I'm just putting a whole full prompt. You can read it, you can change it in ChatGPT itself, because once you put in Bolt, then you're already into the production, right? So before production, you can go back to make the prompt better, slightly better, right? It usually takes a couple of minutes to create a interactive web dashboard without coding. So we're not coding anything, we're only putting prompt in English, right? All right. Okay, while they do it, let's do something else. All right. So similar to Bolt, you have Replit, Lovable, all free versions. You can try and start, experiment and make things. One platform where you can get all of it, but I don't recommend it, because sometimes the APIs don't get connected, but otherwise it's an interesting platform where you can actually try all the platforms. You at least get to know which are the other platforms out there. Google AI Studio is like opening the bonnet of the car. So far we were driving, right? Now Google AI Studio will let you know what is happening inside the whole thing, right? Again, very simple to use, to kind of, it might require you to kind of get familiarized with for a couple of hours, but after that it becomes better, right? Yeah, so these are this is what is called as the AI agent network, which means that a lot of people building AI agents will feature the AI agents here. You can actually hire the AI agents for specific tasks. For example, if you want an AI agent who needs to go and research about 1,000 companies, you hire a company research agent, right? It'll go to all the web pages and then search about it, get the information about the decision makers and everything. It just crawls, right, and gets it. This company research agent will do only that, right? So usually a individual is placed in a role like that, right, in a company where they take a couple of weeks to do this process, or even more, right? So this is like a Naukri.com of AI agents, right? You get all of them here. Yeah, Play Store of agents, where you can see AI agents working, what are they doing, and maybe hire for some particular task, right? It's an agent marketplace. Yeah. So how many of you tried Google Notebooks LLM? So there is called Notebook LM, which is by Google. Okay. I'll show you. If you upload a document, for example, you're uploading a 500-page document into this, You can convert that into, say, mind map, say study guide, FAQ. You can chat with the document, right? Not just the LLM, right? Sometimes you only want to chat with that particular document. You don't want to go out of it, right? So this is free actually, and it does a good job of converting. So there is a podcast option there. So if you upload the 100-page financial document into it, in 10-15 minutes, it's going to explain what's inside the document, critically evaluate it, share with you the key insights from that. That's the most interesting bit, which is analytically, not like reading it out. It's analyzing it and reading it out. So it's like having a podcast between two people who will do analytically. Right? Notebook LM, right. So I'll share this thing with you because you can share with everyone on the curated deck, right? So otherwise it'll be too difficult for them to catch up with that. So if you have a YouTube link and you want to convert, so for example, 2 hours of YouTube link video, right? And you want to convert that into 10 small reels. The best one is like Opus Clip. It'll go read every bit of the YouTube video and then comes out with the 20-30 seconds, which has the most important value in it. Real value, the virality, right? Opus Plus does a good job, and it gives you some free options to start with. So I think 3-4 videos you can try and see whether it works. Then you can kind of upgrade that to different platforms. A lot of content can be generated with this, right? Yeah. So for people who are serious about building workflows, right? AI native workflows, N8N is the best platform in the world right now, which will help you to build workflows without doing any coding, right? Earlier, it's a lot of work to do with coding and everything, right? Right. Great. That's it about the curated deck. I know too many tools won't help here, but yeah. So here what happened is Bolt made a small bug. And I'm asking Bolt itself to go and fix it, right? Let's see what happens. Right. Okay, let's spend some time here. I want you to take at least 3 minutes and then write down 3 top use cases you will seriously try, maybe going back. And then I want you to discuss with everyone, because I want the ideas to kind of go around, and because some people might have some great ideas. So let's share that and make this room like a collaborative space. Do you think it's a good idea? You can try, right? So let's take, or maybe you can discuss with others also. It's fine. So it needn't be an individual note-taking thing. 3 top use cases which you feel, after seeing all these various examples, now you're able to connect and find out, okay, these are 3 context-specific use cases which I feel can work out well, right? Yeah. So, and then I would invite everyone, whoever wants to share it, can share that. Maybe we'll pick up 5 of them to kind of share that and do that, right? Great.
Last one we told about workflow.
Right. Right. So in terms of N8N, if you look at, so if you want to get ideas on N8N templates, right? What are the workflow templates which are available right now? You just have to search for N8N templates. There are some 4,000 plus templates which are already pre-built inside N8N, which means you don't have to figure out which N8N platform, workflow you have to build. There are pre-built platforms done by, reasonably good people, not developers, people like us who wants to solve problems. And for example, if you're putting construction like as a template here, if you go and search for this, you will see some of the construction-based workflows here, right? Automate real estate construction site discovery with 99 acres email scrapper. This is one particular, workflow which happens there. So maybe we'll share this now. For example, what is this particular workflow doing, right? How it works. Anytime, for example, they are using connecting 99 acres, and say anytime a new property is getting uploaded in 99 acres, you will get a notification, which is not happening otherwise, right? because 99 acres is a specific platforms. Not say 99 acres will come up saying we have got 1,000 new properties here, but something which is searching for specifically, you get a notification from that. So that's a workflow, right? A new email will get triggered, or a new, that's particularly this workflow, right?
In automation.
Yes, exactly. So it's like AI native automation, right? Because you can connect all the AI. So, for example, you can connect Gemini, you can connect Gmail, you can connect 2 or 3 different AI platforms together and bring in information also, right? Very interesting space. But again, learning curve is like 20 hours, I would say. Like if you kind of spend 20 hours into this N8N, you can develop as many workflows as possible, right? Yeah, I think the learning curve is the key here. Even for ChatGPT, you need to kind of spend at least 25 conversations per day, which makes a lot of difference, right? You'll start building, you start imagining things with it, right? Okay, let's go back and see in 3 minutes how much top 3 use cases which you can find out, and be happy to share. I mean, if you can share that, that would be great.
There are 4 to 5 websites that are available. You want to ask get an AI to analyze this website and understand what is the general requirement now coming up in the market. How that
Great.
market.
Great. So one way is if you have the websites with you, right? You have the website links with you, right? You can go to Notebook LM. If you see that you can create a new notebook, and you will see something like link here, website, right? Can you take one, share with one website, like just
For example, 19 acres, what is the general property?
Okay.
Google searches to find out what is the new search happening in housing in this part of the world.
Okay. The problem with 99 acres in this particular use case would be that it has a login, right? So anything outside the login, it will be able to capture. But what if an information website is there? For example, say, I'm just taking.
Google searches what is being searched now.
Right, let's say Kerala Rara, right? This is a website. So we don't want to read all the website. What we want to do is we want to go and put this website here and paste and create a notebook, which means it will go and read the entire website. And what happened? Yeah. It's taking time. I don't know why. Or let's take another, say 99 acres for that matter. Yeah. I hope it is reading. Now, if you want to kind of create a mind map about 99 acres website, yes, it can create that. You look at this now, it is able to create a mind map of the 99 acre site. What is there inside there? So basically like a mind map, or it can create something like briefing doc, the entire. So we just took 99 acres, it can be any website. Right? All right. Okay. How many of you kind of thought of some use cases? Top 3. Project management. Okay. Maybe if you can explain the task, that would be great. Just to get to know. We can even try some of it now to see how it works. Right. We can even give the mic to people if they want to share it, right? Because this is a very, very important session for the next 10 minutes to see how we have thought of it. Please.
When I said project management, it's all encompassing kind of, right from the costing, the scheduling,
Okay.
I mean, overall management of a project. That's what most of us do here.
Great.
So
Wonderful.
I think it can be automated and speeded up if you know what to ask, like you said.
Great, great. Wonderful. Can we hear from... Yes, please.
Can we create a calendar, kind of like a task that can be assigned to a site engineer with all the activities of that particular project?
Great question. We can do that. For example, just want to show you that, like, for example, create a project calendar, right? Who's site engineer? For, like, say 90 days? So prompt of the day is assume all data, right? Because you create your own data because we don't have data. Yeah, we put in O3, that's why it's taking time. Otherwise, it would come in a 4.0 as a very simple thing. Maybe we can try this as well. I'll use a 4.0 for that. O3. Now, so if you have the project details with you, the other variables, easy to create a contextual stuff. But now, since we don't have data, we thought to create this. Exactly. So see, the richness of the context is all about. So context variables, right? Like you're talking about every bit, day, time, person, energy, how much time they're spending, all that matters. So we are able to think also very clearly with that, right? Exactly. Yeah.
See,
Does this make sense, right? Yeah.
see, the thing is like, let's say I have a structural report or a foundation report. Say 1, 2, 3 reports. I can give this to the AI and it can create a template with equations, everything set. Then tomorrow I can use that template to make a new report. Is that possible?
Okay. I actually didn't get the question first of all, but
No.
yeah, I get what you're saying. So maybe if you can just explain like a little bit, like what are you giving it to?
Means, we are giving an input, like we get different reports. Like say structural report from a
Is it an image or a
it will be a full report, like 30 pages, 20 PDF reports.
text-based, right?
Text-based
All
reports.
right. Okay.
So maybe 1 or 2 reports.
Okay.
And we can give that report to this.
Right.
And this will create a template or a Excel sheet having the equations, everything. So tomorrow, person like me, I just have to just put the parameters. And will it say it is, will it calculate and give it back?
Absolutely. What you have to do is to try that
Yes.
and see whether it works or not. Very simple.
Yeah.
But I got a question. So based on whatever examples we've given, right, this is pretty much doable, right? Because it's only text, right?
Yeah.
Text data converted into frameworks. Great. You should try this definitely.
Hi, just want to share a discussion I had with the project manager of a software company yesterday. We were coming by train from Trivandrum.
Sure.
So his company is developing a software for a 40 billion dirham company in Abu Dhabi. And they are trying to make a savings of 120 million dirhams over the next 2-3 years.
Right.
What they are planning, they have mapped the entire Abu Dhabi. And what if they have 5 acres of land or 10 acres,
Right.
big prod. So all they have to do is based on whatever they have done so far in the last 20 years or so, this AI will, the guy is developing, the company is developing a software, and it will give a complete layout for that 10 acre
Got it.
based on whatever they have done so far. And then they have to make modification, but significant cost savings for the landscape design, even for the building.
Brilliant.
So just to share that. So there are practical possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 120 million dirhams is a lot of money.
Right. So I think when we find the real business use cases is when we are really excited about. So far, we were having fun. I think we were only having fun with ChatGPT, because most of the memes running around about ChatGPT is about having a relationship status with ChatGPT and all. But then there are more things to do with it, right? It's not just the amusement factor which makes ChatGPT better, right? It's also about the intelligence added to it for actually solving real problems, right? So, brilliant. Okay, waiting to hear from rest of you. Mike is here. It's all yours. Yeah, please. Okay. Generally, what do you feel? Is it 7 out of 10 or 9 out of 10? I am an Uber driver only. I will ask you. What is that? Yeah, absolutely. Great. At least I think this session, as I understand, is some of you kind of felt this is new. Some of you felt this is familiar, but yeah, some aspects are new for you, right? That's the whole idea of this. This is not to kind of bring a drone and build a building, right? That's all your job. The job is to kind of make your hardest aspects of a job easier, right? Some of the jobs are very hard, like in terms of documentation, working with a lot of knowledge inside the organization. We have kind of picked up. So one thing which I can send it to you, sir. One is the curated deck, and secondly, what you asked for is the Notion document of all the prompts. The idea is to kind of go back and try a little bit more on ChatGPT, because you will pick up the momentum by using these prompts, right? Okay, waiting to hear from two more of you. Two more, please. Treasurer.
So, like what he
Ah.
asked. So his question was whether you can make an Excel with predefined formulas, and you just enter, and it'll give you the output. So you can make that Excel on ChatGPT.
You can make an Excel on ChatGPT. Yes. So let's see. Make a project in an Excel, right? So just say that, and you'll be able to even match that data with there.
No, actually, so he's speaking about the 30-page PDF. So that has a lot of values in it.
Got it.
Probably used in construction, something like this into this, whatever.
So first it'll read the 30-page PDF, pick up all the figures, reads, analyzes that, brings it to the relevant columns in the Excel, right? Or it creates a new structure for Excel. Sometimes what happens is you can't match it to the existing Excel. You have to say, hey, my new Excel sheet should have these kind of variables. Or you can actually add the Excel and say, okay, this is a format. So Excel add, data add, and creates a new Excel for you. It won't go back into the old Excel and fit in, right? But a new Excel format is created exactly replicating the other one, right? Which we shared with it. Right? It works. If you know, ChatGPT can hold 10 documents in this whole conversation, but all should be limited to 300 words. That's it. Right now, 1,000 words will come now. Pages. Right?
Any other
And
questions?
just paused. Okay. Any observations? Any feedback? Anything which you would like to, maybe questions or whatever? I mean, please feel free to share. I know you are exhausted after 3 hours of session inside a room. Please.
We probably didn't discuss much about Meta AI.
Right.
And one of the questions that came to my mind was WhatsApp is being used quite commonly.
Brilliant.
How do we integrate
the WhatsApp data with AI? Meta AI is one of the straightforward way, but any other way?
Interesting. Right. So one of the reasons why now in Meta, there are two things. One is you have the Meta AI, right, in WhatsApp. Secondly, if you look at ChatGPT and Perplexity are also available on WhatsApp. So if you add a number, it goes to Perplexity's thing. The only thing is it just has a latency period of 2 seconds, which is okay. 2 seconds is fine. Perplexity takes 3 seconds on the web. This is 2 seconds, right? So let me show you that right now. Okay. So if you go to Perplexity, this is a Perplexity WhatsApp number. Yeah, I have this number here. So if you look at this, right, you have this number, right? I shared that number with me, myself, and then you go to message, this will happen. For example, I'm saying, it comes like that, right? It comes there itself, yeah, explain. So you can, it's better sometimes to have a chat on WhatsApp, because instead of going to another app and opening it for a search, right, having a WhatsApp app really helps, right? You can share and make, slightly more frictionless, because if you go to the main app, yep, it helps. Perplexity is one. Then you have ChatGPT also. There are 2 numbers to which you can kind of share this business numbers, right? So it's free also. Yeah. So Meta is this. Say, for example, if you're saying, again, explain. It has a way of doing it, right? Yeah. Great. Any more questions? I think these questions have really helped me to kind of have a bit more useful information to the rest of people, because that's the way you think, that's the way you want this information to happen. Because there are so many things which we'll discuss in Gen AI, right? So it's an ocean, right? So yeah, it helps. Anything else? Beginning, yeah, I know. Great. So any final comment or anything? Just to see whether we are. So the point here is this. I think the overall takeaway for me is that we have moved from ordinary prompting to structured mega prompting. That is one. I think that's the key takeaway here. I think this is also thought process building also, right? So did we ever feel that AI is doing everything? No. I think we are equally participating, we are collaborating, we are improving our thought process on the way, which means that we are not getting dumber, we are actually getting better in the process of working with AI, because we're getting more ideas, ideation is happening. We're also getting ideas. For example, most of the ideas who've come is through interactions, right? Because we're interacting with an intelligent being, right? So it's like saying, there is a saying, right? You are the average of 5 people you interact with. So the more you interact with ChatGPT, you are going to getting leveling up in terms of how you think and collaborate, right? So that's it all about it. Thank you so much. And we can interact on the rest of the day also. And thanks for the patience and for being super interactive during the session. Thank you. Bye-bye.